All right, it's recording.
Right. Hello and welcome to Raising Remarkable Teenagers. I am so excited today, extremely excited, as you can see. As always, I am always scouting the world to look for great content. And today, as you can see, I've got an amazing guest. And before I introduce Simon to you, I just want to remind you that you're in the right place if you're wanting to have a peaceful family, if you're wanting to have to raise highly effective teenagers, and if you're wanting to have those, those parenting goals that each one of us has. And also, if you want to have those enriched relationship with your teenagers, you're in the right place, because what we do here and what we want to empower every parent is to raise highly effective teenagers. And today, guess what we've got, or who we've got? We've got Simon Benn. And Simon, I think he's the king of confidence for young people. And what I want Simon to talk about today is how you, as a parent, can empower, encourage, and educate your young person to be confident, because confidence sometimes just doesn't happen. Sometimes we have to help our young people, we have to imbue them with that confidence. And Simon's going to show us a couple of ways. As always, we always bring experts who can give you steps, strategies, and snippets, right? So we know and we be better. So take it away, Simon.
Hi, Angela. I really don't know if I can do that introduction justice. So I've never had such a gushing introduction. So I'll do my best, shall I? I'll do my best. So yeah, I just love your enthusiasm, and I love the way that you lift. The way that you lift people, and I think that kind of leads into one of my first things about confidence is that we need to lift. Sometimes we all need a lift, right? And we need to lift our kids' confidence. And the way to do that is through how we are, as adults and as parents. And we can't really go into it, if we go into it in that situation, but if we go into it by trying to root around in all the lack of confidence, then we're just going to be into some sort of vortex or spiral of downness, and that isn't really going to be helpful. Poking around in the darkness of our darker thoughts doesn't ever bring us to the light, does it?
No. So. I love the way you say that. I don't want to interject, but I love the way you say that we lift others by being that which we want them to be.
Yeah, of course, because kids do what we do, not what we say. Telling kids or telling adults, telling anybody to do stuff doesn't work, So telling your child to buck their ideas up and become more confident is highly unlikely to work, in my experience. We need to lead by example, and I wouldn't guess this would happen to your listeners, because they're I'm guessing that they're drawn to you for your positivity. So, but there are a lot of people out there who aren't confident about building their child's confidence. So if they aren't confident about doing that, then it's unlikely that they're going to have a good result. Absolutely. So, I listened to an interview with you before. I heard a little bit about your story back in Kenya and stuff. And I had a little story about that. I've only been to Kenya once,
You
to Kenya.
kept that quiet.
Kept that quiet. But I was there actually 13 years ago.
Wow.
So how do I know it was 13 years ago? Well, it was my wife and I's wedding anniversary yesterday.
Ooh, wow.
So we've got 23 years under the belt now. And we went to Kenya for our 10th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So I know that it's exactly 13 years since I was in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, going back to that. So where were we? Confidence. Talking about confidence. Yeah. A lot of people aren't very confident about improving their kids' confidence, and our kids have a natural radar for detecting when we're faking it till we make it. And they don't believe us. We see straight through. Kids are even more attuned than us as adults at seeing through people who aren't coming from their space. So you talked about in the interview. I know why I mentioned the interview now. So you talked about the interview about you've been working with kids, and then you have shifted to working with parents as well. Yeah. And that's where we need to be. I followed that shift as well. And I was very surprised to find parents who weren't confident about raising their kids' confidence. But then I thought, well, why should they? Because they haven't really studied much in this area themselves, probably. So if they haven't studied it, then they're in, like, we can only teach what we know.
Absolutely. We only teach through the example of who we are. And I like what you're saying, because what you're saying at the moment is in psychology. In psychology, we call it modeling. You can only give what you have, who you are. We teach by the quality of our example.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's what today is all about, I guess. It's about, because we're talking to parents rather than teenagers. So we are trying to give them some hope. A lot of parents very concerned about their kids at the moment. I did some research on this in the summer, and actually, parents are actually more concerned about their kids' confidence than they are about COVID. Very few. There's a lot in the press about mental health issues from a big kind of, statistical perspective. But my research shows that far more parents are worried about their kids' confidence than they are about their kids, how their kids are handling coronavirus. So yeah, we need to be the change. As Gandhi said, we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. We need to be confident, and that means, and to be that change, we kind of need to see things perhaps a little bit differently. So for me, confidence is normally talked about so this is a new pair of glasses, right? I had to buy these a couple of months ago because I lost my old pair of glasses, right? We talk about confidence like it's a pair of glasses that can be lost. And it's not. Confidence isn't a thing. Confidence is a feeling. So then we're into, well, why do we feel the way that we do? And then that is a complete can of worms. So why do we feel the way that we do? Well, the metaphor that's actually coming to my head is the metaphors I used, the reasons I used at school. So, I haven't done my homework because my dog ate it or something like that. I've lost my briefcase. I've lost my briefcase with my school bag with my homework in it, sir. So that's why I haven't done it. Yeah. Why do we feel the way that we do? So we blame all sorts of things outside us. So we blame the weather. We've got a cultural belief that the weather somehow makes us feel the way we do.
Mm.
We've got a cultural belief that COVID makes us feel the way that we do. We think that what other people say makes us feel the way that we do. So if we're looking for why we feel the way that we do, then we're going to come up with a load of different reasons.
Loads, yeah.
But that isn't the truth. It's not the right question to be asking. The question to be asking is, where do our feelings come from?
That's right.
And they don't come from the outside world.
Never.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job, isn't it?
It's an inside job. So then we're in front of an inside job, but that then leads us into the kind of like the positive psychologist dilemma, where we start beating ourselves up because we're not feeling confident.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not feeling confident, or if we're not feeling positive, that's really just a rumble strip to say that we're going off kilter. We are off kilter. We are, we're falling asleep. We're falling asleep at the wheel, and we've hit some rumble strips. If we're not feeling good.
That's right.
If we're not feeling good. So for me, all this stuff is really about it's really about understanding more about our feelings and our thoughts and what confidence is, and so that we can be the confidence that we want to see in the world, and so we can also explain it correctly to our kids, so that they can see the truth for themselves.
Absolutely. And like what you said, they can see, they can tell, they can feel when we are not confident, when we're not being authentic. They can feel it. And it's like they feed of it and become like us, right? So what do you think we can do? What do you think parents can do to actually, of course, it's got to start from us. If we're going to give anything, any value to our kids, we've got to have that value. So what do you think we as parents can do to increase our confidence, to heighten our confidence? Because we need it in so many situations, and we need to be leaders. Normally, I say, as parents, we are leaders. We are leaders to our young people. So how can we lead them in confidence and imbue that confidence in them?
Well, I think we're in the right space here with everything that we've said already, in my view. It's through understanding. We live in a world where we think that that there are 15 steps to raising a confident child. Well, there isn't really. The only way to raise a more confident child is, there's only two ways, in my opinion, right? One is to become more confident ourselves by listening to stuff like you and I are talking about.
Learning, yes.
And the second one is to figure out, learn by doing, how to bring out our children's natural confidence from within them. There's only two things to do. So increase our own confidence and enhance the way that we bring that out of our child. That's there are only two solutions. So there's only two solutions. There aren't 15 steps. There aren't 622 ways to do it. And there are only two things to do that.
Because it's like you said, it's an internal job, it's an inside job. So for me, for example, for a parent to feel confident in their role as a leader, is the leader in their child's life. So how do we go about that? Because I mean, it's, as we know, the statistics are that many parents are not confident in that role. And none of us started confidently. But how do we learn? I would like you to tell my friends here, my fans here, and all of the followers here, these lovely parents, how do we increase our own confidence? How?
Well, we all learn in different ways. So we need to learn stuff. We need to have insights. We need to see the truth. We need to see the truth about the truth about confidence and emotional intelligence and what all this stuff is. We need to see that for ourselves. And we need to do that in a way that works for us. We need to learn this stuff in a way that works for us. So some of us learn better from video, some learn better from audio, some learn better from going on courses, some learn better from books, you know. So me, I'm a big audio fan, and so I study through audio. I listen to podcasts all the time, and the good thing about podcasts is that you can do that whilst you're doing something else. So I listen to podcasts while I'm walking the dog.
Absolutely, and what I hear you saying, this learning and then doing it, being one of the ways that I have found of increasing my confidence, because I know as much as I'm a confident person, there are times I have felt not confident. And I would say some of the ways that I use, and I'm not saying that that's what you have to do or someone else has to do, and like Simon said, we all learn in different ways. For me, I have what I call my own personal affirmations. I read and then repeat these affirmations to myself, and some of them include things like words like I am a worthy person. You know, it's what you would call, you know, the way you would compliment someone else. But I actually sometimes go on a tirade of complimenting myself, that I am okay, I am enough, I am capable of doing this. I have done something similar to this before, therefore I can do this too. So it's, for me, that's what works. So for you, what would you say works, Simon? Because I don't think every person is confident all of the time at all times.
Well, we have to find our own ways. I mean, this is the whole thing. You know, so I've said, listen. So I learn by listening, right? You know, you learn by reading and then repeating. Okay, so we have to find our own way, and that doesn't really, that's quite an alien concept for most people, because we're learnt to, you know, when we're in school, we're told how to learn, right? Well, you know, parents they're not in school anymore, so they have to find a way that works for them. So I can't tell. What I'm saying is, dear parent, find a way that works for you, and then do that. And I can't tell you any more than that, because you're a parent, you're a grown up. I'm not going to treat you like I'm going to treat a 4-year-old about how you learn to tie your shoelaces. You're a grown up. If you're here and you've got this and you're listening so far, you must be interested in this.
Absolutely.
I think the first thing to do is that actually, maybe, because you know, we all beat ourselves up, right? And then we've got this thing called parent guilt, right? Which makes it like what is a habit into something that's some sort of disease. Oh, I've got parent guilt. Well, no, it's just some social media guy trying to come up with a problem, a name, a condition to put on the fact that you feel bad about your parenting. Parents we've always felt bad. None of us have ever felt good enough, right? So calling it parent guilt makes it worse, right? And then, oh, we're not going to do anything. Oh, I've got parent guilt. Well, it's not. It's just a made-up condition, right? It's a made-up condition. It isn't the truth of who you are. If you're listening, if you, dear listener or viewer, are listening this far, right, you care about your kids. You are not scrolling through Facebook looking at, or YouTube looking at pictures of cute cats, or going through Instagram and looking at pictures of new clothes to buy. You are listening to this stuff. So you are prioritizing. You're already ahead of most people, because 99% of parents will not be listening to what we're talking about today. They'll be doing something. They'll be prioritizing different things in their lives. And that's great. If that, you as a parent, you have to prioritize what matters. for you. Prioritize what matters for you, and then find a way to develop your own confidence with working with Angela, working with me, working with whoever. You and I don't really care, do we? Obviously, we'd love to be serving these people, your viewers. You'd love to be serving them more. But what matters isn't what we say; it's what the parents do. So, but you have to prioritize it, or else what will happen is your child will get less and less and less confidence, and the situation will get worse and worse and worse, and then you'll be into some real rubbish, and you'll be coming too late to the party. So prioritize it, and then do something about it. Or you can do the other thing: you stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away. It may well go away, but what can I say? We're advocates for this stuff.
Absolutely, but then that hoping it goes away, it's like hoping that your muscle. Because for me, I think something like confidence, because it's an internal value. It's something you have to work out. You have to work it out. It's like a muscle. So, and if you don't work it out, you don't have it. You don't strengthen it, because it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It's some of these values we have to keep working on them. In psychology, we call this developing a psychological template, where you work something again and again and again, and then what happens is the brain develops those neuropaths, so that becomes sort of your, what we call the paradigm. There are people who are just, and you think this person is just confident in nature. No, they have built it up again and again and again. And it's sometimes, most of the times, I would say, confidence is a result of stepping up and then making another step, sometimes dropping and falling, and then getting back again. And it's in those movements that you start to get incrementally stronger and stronger and stronger, right? So it's something like Simon said, find someone who you can work with to help you develop that confidence, because it's actually very important, especially now when our young people are, they've got so much pressure from everywhere. Can you, and you imagine, I like to give the analogy of an oak tree and a mushroom, right? So can you imagine if your young person is a mushroom out there, and we've got kids kicking their head in, the mushroom will just crumble. On the other hand, if your young person is an oak tree, these other things or these other pressures can kick the oak tree all they like. The kid is not going to crumble.
So how does that stack up with the idea that feelings are an inside job? I don't get that.
Sorry?
So we were talking earlier on, and we were saying that feelings are an inside job. They come from our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that stack up with the pressure from outside? Surely it's an inside job, I don't know.
It's an inside job, right? It's an inside job. However, we have pressures from outside, right? The pressures from outside, if you're not strong enough, you can get kicked in, isn't it?
Okay. I think we have a difference on how we view this. So I would say that, feelings are, the truth is always the truth.
Uh-huh.
And therefore feelings only ever come from thoughts.
Yes.
And
which is true, which is correct.
If they ever come through thoughts, so if they only ever come through thoughts, then the outside world doesn't actually impact how we think.
Right. I know you're correct in what you're saying. What I'm saying is, with confidence, young people are able to scale higher. Is that correct?
I think we have a difference. I think we just have a difference of opinion on that. So,
no, what I'm saying is, with confidence, young people who are more confident, they are capable of scaling higher. True or not?
Yes, but that confidence is an inside job. I don't see the pressure. It's quite a controversial view, right? It's quite a controversial view, especially from a psychological perspective.
Yeah, but
that feelings that the outside world doesn't affect how we feel. But but it
doesn't affect how you feel, but it can crush you in terms of when you try. For example, if you try to scale up without confidence, how far would you go?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Right. So this is what I know, right? And this is my observation, and this is probably the research. When you haven't got the confidence, right, you tend not to step out, step up. Yeah? You tend not to step out and step up. And then what happens when you don't step out and step up? There are so many things happening around you, right? And because there's so many things happening, so many pressures happening around you, they're likely to crush you because you're already down. And that's what I mean. I'm not saying that confidence, no one gives you confidence. No one can give you confidence. Yeah, but the problem is when you haven't got the confidence, what happens is you almost become the mat, the doormat or something.
Yeah, we don't. Clearly, we don't.
Yeah, so but that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So in terms of the young people, you talked about the parents the parents have to work on themselves, but then we also need to help our young people develop that confidence. How can we do that? If it's an instinctive, if it's an instinct value, how can we help develop it?
So we have to see, as you said, nobody can give somebody else confidence. So we have to find it ourselves, and like anything, we have to model it. Find it so we can model it, and we have to find it so we can show other people. We can show other people the way. So we have to be a leader, and we have to become better at the coaching conversation with them. So for me, it's about questions rather than statements. So we're drawing the confidence out of the kids, and we're drawing their own understanding out of them. So I always start with young kids by saying, well, where do feelings come from? And I get them to see that for themselves, because they have to see it for themselves.
That's right.
If people don't see it for themselves, then they won't change.
That's true.
So we have to. So it's a coaching conversation. So that coaching conversation, parents are the best people to. Once they've got the understanding of this stuff themselves, then they're the best person to share that with their kids, and they'll learn how to do that, like we learn how to do anything else, by trial and error. So I'm not. I saw something yesterday. Was it the day before? And it was like a fill in the blanks, a fill in the blanks conversational guide for parents. And I just thought, well, that isn't going to work, because kids don't follow the script, Nobody. I heard something else last week. Nobody learned to be a great painter by painting by numbers. We can't give you a kind of like a bar chart which says, well, if your child says this, then do this. If your child says that, then do that. If your child says that, here are the 17 steps to do. It's patronizing. It's rubbish, and it doesn't work. So we learn to do stuff by trial and error. And the deeper our own understanding of this topic, the better we're able to explain it to our kids. So that's how I answer that question. Again, it's probably quite counter, because people are used to filling people are used to filling web pages and newspapers with 17 steps how to do this. But you know, if the 17 steps work, there would be no obesity, there would be no people, there would be nobody would be overweight. Everybody would get 8 hours kip every night. No, everybody would drink enough water. Everybody mental. The steps don't work. The strategies don't work unless they come with the change, and the big change, which was kind of the reason I was talking to you earlier on about I was asking this about the feelings, where they come from. Is the big change is that confidence is a feeling, it's not a thing, and we can just blow past that. We can blow past that, and we can blame the outside world, like I used to do, for why I felt what either the opposite of confidence is, unconfident. I used to blame the outside world until I saw for myself that confidence isn't a thing, it's a feeling, and our feelings come from our thoughts. And most of the time we're not choosing our thoughts, so that's not our fault. You know, I used to worry about worrying. You know, you read Watch The Secret, like I did 15 years ago, and you know, you start to worry about worrying, and then, well, that's just a never-ending cycle of rubbish, isn't it? You know, it's not our feelings aren't our fault, because our thoughts aren't our fault, because we're not picking them. It's not they're not who we are.
So if we so how what I want us to think about is, how can we encourage people to think in more confident ways, in more productive or positive ways that are going to help them develop that confidence? How can you?
Well, I don't think that's where the answer is. I think the answer is deeper than our thoughts. It's about the truth of who we are as people, as human beings, and you know, and we could go deeper than that into kind of a more sort of like practical spirituality thing, which is where I'm at. You know, I'm not. You know, I know that most of the rubbish that goes through my head is rubbish. I don't take a lot of notice of it. So you know, the Nike slogan is just do it. It isn't go on a confidence course and learn how to be confident and then do it. It's just do it. You know, we think we've got something to lose. You know, we think that failure says something about us, and whether that's something about us as people, as parents, or something like that. And it doesn't. You know, I don't spend a lot of time in the thought space, really. You know, I'm trying to change my thoughts because I can't. You know, we have 70,000 thoughts a day. So, but luckily we aren't our thoughts. So for me, it's about the essence of who we truly are, and the force of nature behind our thoughts, rather than studying the thoughts.
Oh, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I was hoping and praying that you would bring it up, saying, you know, the essence of who we are, that true being, that, you know, that what I personally call, one of the affirmations that I do on almost a daily way is, I am a spiritual being. So I am a spiritual being having a human experience. So that knowing who you are, and like you said, if you know who you are, you're not afraid of failing, because it's, and what? You know, you're thinking, and what? Right? And it's just do it. Just go do what you feel you need to do on a daily basis. And it's in doing that we build confidence. Is that what you feel?
I agree with some of that, but not all of it. So I think it's the essence. Most of my work is with younger kids, so they're not as bought into the rubbish that we're bought into as adults.
Yes.
So Yeah, I would say that we are born resilient, and we are born confident, and we learn to be, we learn to not be confident by, and we learn to think that we're fragile.
Yeah.
From the world around us. And you know, me too. I did this. You know, and I thought I was broken. You know, I thought I was broken. You know, but now I'm a big fan of that quote. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the humanity is in the thoughts, but that's not where the answer lies. The answer lies in the spirit.
That's
so but if you go straight into that stuff with people, it can you know, freak them out a little bit. So we dodge around in the thoughts. But you know, psyche, I heard this, right? So what do you understand as the original meaning, or sorry, the meaning of the word psyche? In one other word, pick another word. So as in psyche, as in the psyche in psychology. Pick one word for the psyche.
For me, is that thing. It's that untouchable something. I don't even know what to call it. It's something. It's untouchable. It's the untouchable, the invisible bit of you. That's, for me. That's how I understand it. The mind. It's like saying, what is the mind? It's
okay.
Not. Yeah.
So for I thought psyche, right, was brain. I thought that was the case until this lunchtime, right? So I was listening to a podcast whilst I was walking the dog. I listen to podcasts all the time. I found that that's the best thing for me to do, because I'm busy. So if I can do two things at once, it helps. When I'm walking the dog, I don't need to be concentrating on what I'm doing.
That's right.
I can concentrate on the audio that I'm listening to, right? And the guy said that the psyche for psychology is actually soul.
Yes.
It's soul. I thought it was brain.
Mind. It's mind. It's soul. It's that invisible, weightless. It's the invisible, weightless, visualless thing that it's.
But that's not what you studied. That's not what you studied in psychology.
Well, we do have that as well. We do have that.
Okay. Well, when I did a bit of psychology, we did none of that, right? So I thought you've got three different things there. You've got soul, brain, and mind, right? So I thought that, brain is pretty obvious. I thought the psyche that was studied I thought psychology was the study of the brain. That's what I thought it was. It's not. It's a study. It's the study. It was originally the study of the soul, and then it got somehow changed into studying behaviors, which is, you know, way downstream of all the stuff we're talking about. So I believe that everybody's born confident. I believe that everybody's born resilient. We're born to bounce, but we pick up from the world around us that we're weak and we're fragile, and that's what I did. That's what I did. And if you believe that you are a weak person or a fragile person, then you won't go out into the world and make the difference that you want to make, or do the things that you want to achieve. So I think that's what you were getting at. But.
Yes, do you know what? I am so I'm so excited that you've illuminated some of these almost blur areas and for our parents. So what I would ask you, Simon, before we finish, what three snippets would you want to leave our parents with? What is it that you want them to think about today, tomorrow, as something that they can do like today to make the changes? Of course, we've got to be the change that we want to see. So what would you throw out there? Something that they can practice.
Well, I would say I just go over really what I've said so far into three things. So I would decide what's important to you, and then I would find a way of studying, studying of following through on what's important to you. And then I would see where that takes you. Number three, that's what I would say.
Absolutely, guys. Did you hear that? Think about what's important to you, and then study it, and then see where it takes you, right? And chances are, not only is that going to improve your life, and I am a curious learner. I am constantly learning. And one of my mentors said to me, if you think knowledge is expensive, try ignorance, right? And I'm gonna leave you with that. And I am so excited. Now, Simon, I know you've given us quite a lot. What I would like for parents to know is where they can find you, because I think you've got a whole load of stash somewhere that these parents, they just want to follow you and grab some of it, because I feel you've only just scraped the surface. And
do you? Oh, right, okay. I was trying to go pretty deep. This is, this is as deep as you wanted to go, as you want it to go. So if people want to check me out, then come over to. Best place to do that is my website. So I am at Simon Benn, and Benn has two N's. .co.uk, and there's loads of videos. You find loads of videos and articles on me, and you can get in touch with me there. I've got a couple of downloads. So one is 3 steps to building your child's confidence, and we've got another one that's on about happiness as well, so people can check those out, and they'll get some insight. So yeah, get curious. Get curious. Or the other thing is that if you don't want to change, then don't do anything. Don't do anything.
What an option.
So don't do anything. And then the reason I say that is because I saw somebody who's doing similar sorts of things to you and me, working with kids, and she said, well, I asked this question. I asked this question so people tell, a mum comes on and she's got all these troubles with her child, and she says, and she tells me chapter and verse about what's going on, and then the woman says and the coach lady says, so what have you done? And the mother at the other end of the phone usually goes very quiet and says nothing.
Whoa.
So you have to decide whether you're going to prioritize this stuff or not. If you don't want to prioritize it, then don't. But if you do, then do. And do something about it. If nothing will change.
Absolutely.
Unless a change happens within you, or in how you inside for you. Like unless you have an insight, unless you carry through on insight, then nothing is going to change. So I'm laboring the point a bit, because we'll say, well, no, I'm too busy doing this. I'm too busy. Well, that's fine. That's totally great. You parents need to decide what they want to.
And what's important.
What's important to them. And they might say, well, they're going to learn this at school. Well, they're not. That's for truth, yeah. And they will not learn this at school, because the teachers aren't taught in this stuff.
Absolutely.
If they need any help, right, if they will be vulnerable enough to say that they need any help, then they'll call in somebody like you and me.
Absolutely.
Because they can't do it themselves. So if they can't teach it, they're trained to teach maths.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trained to teach positive, whatever we call what we do, confidence, spirit, resilience, remarkable teenager, whatever it is. They're not trained in that, right? So if you're a parent thinking they're going to get it at school, then forget it, because their whole system is set up for results.
That's right.
All their world is set up to focus on results, and they're not trained to do that. And that is not their fault. It's the way the system is set up.
It's the way the system is set up. It's not
their fault. I'm not blaming them. I'm just telling you how it is. Because I worked with a lot of
development. It's got nothing to do with personal development. It's subject after subject. And so, as you said, Simon, I am so excited that you've given our, I actually put my feet up and I'm thinking, God, I'm listening to these snippets. I'm so excited. And I know some of the parents are going to be calling me again to ask. So I'm going to say to you again, you can find Simon at simonbenn.co.uk. Is that?
.co.uk.
And just hound him for some more of those snippets, because I keep saying to parents, it truly does take a village to raise a stable and confident young person. And obviously we no longer live in villages, and this is the village, this is the support that you need. Speak to Simon, speak to myself. Whatever you do, speak to someone who can help you, help you in raising remarkable teenagers. Just speak to someone. I know Simon said there's the option of not doing anything, but I would say just do something. Just do it. Thank you so much, Simon, for today, and I hope to speak to you on another episode. And I am so happy, so grateful for all the value that you've given to our listeners today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's been great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.